luckily, dude, I'm gonna look 25 for a long time, and that's great.
Get it, Eric.
So going back to This Is 30, Eric, do you have a minimum age where you're in the 20s, right? I can't do it. Like,
Oh yeah.
20 doing what?
like, so like when I started actually putting myself out there again, I had like a strict age limit. Like, I cannot date somebody less than the age of like 27, basically. I could not do like the 25 and younger, basically. I just couldn't handle it. I'm just wondering, like, with you being in your 30s, like, do you have an age where you stop?
18.
Eric, you were such a
No.
liar.
No, I remember when I was 28, I came to the realization that I had to date girls over the age of 25 because I was hanging out with a bunch of 19-year-olds with fake IDs on the hill in Berkeley, thinking to myself, it's like, why am I seeing the sun come up again for the third night in a row, hanging out with a bunch of 19-year-olds? The only people who were
dog 2020.
I was like, I remember seeing the fog come in over the Bay Bridge, and then it hit me. I was like, I think I'm too old for this. that was definitely when I learned the lesson. I was like, hey man, all right, maybe we gotta start changing that age range on your fucking Tinder profile. Dude,
Like, how old is your wife, or how much younger is your wife? Like, age?
It turns 30 this year.
Okay, so not much. Yeah, just 2 years. Like, Brooke, how do you feel about this? Because I feel like with men, it's so interesting. Like, it seems like, I mean, women too, I feel like just the opposite direction usually. But like, how do you feel about age gaps and dating? Because I feel like before, when I was younger, I remember being aware of like the older guys and like, you know, like being too old or something. But now I think I hadn't hung out with, like, I feel like mostly I've dated older than me. And so I hadn't really hung out with younger guys until I was like doing debate with the kids again. And like just being around the young guys, like I felt like, one, I was like teen mom, and two, just like being around them, listening to them talk about girls. I was like, oh my gosh, I do not miss any of this. But like, I'd never really thought about where my limits are, younger or older. I definitely don't think I'd go that far back young, because like,
Same.
you know, in theory, like that's cute, but in reality, I would murder them.
Right. I wouldn't want to go younger. So I'm 32. I wouldn't want to go younger than 28.
I was going to say 28 was about the time where you kind of wake up, be like, oh, I'm supposed to be a like true gentleman. Like, basically there has to be some point where men wake up and go, okay,
Right.
I need to be an example for the younger generations, basically, and then turn into that grumpy old man yelling at younger kids for like, was it back attacking young women for no reason?
The back attack is so funny. I'm never gonna forget that now.
yeah, actually, I coined the back attack in my blog post, or that post for I Heart Raves, how to not creep on girls at a festival.
That's cute.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I read that. I remember.
Yeah, in hindsight, reading it again, I'm like, oh fuck, these are exact instructions on how to creep on a girl at a festival. I was like, oh fuck. But yeah, dude, I don't know if you guys want to keep this in or not, but I think dating it's something that does change after the age of like 25, especially in your 30s.
Yeah.
Like dating like trying to date in my 30s now, I do the was it from How I Met Your Mother, the front porch test, where if I don't envision myself on the front porch with them, I can't date them. Like, even just for like sex, dude, fuck sex. It takes time, it takes money. It's just easier to jerk off. Like, I'd rather jerk off for 10 minutes and feel ashamed of myself than spend a whole year with somebody where I know there's no future, because then I'm just wasting my fucking time.
Well, yeah, it goes back to kind of like the recent SNL with Dan Levy, like the whole Zillow commercial. Have you guys seen that?
Yes.
No,
I need to, though, because I fucking love Dan Levy.
They should have used that as an actual commercial, dude.
Yeah, it's kind of like when you're in your late 30s and sex doesn't do it for you. So what do you need to do to get excitement? You get on Zillow and start looking at your future. Like, I could live in North Carolina in a mansion If I
But like they did it in the same form as like those, those commercials that used to, I don't know if they're still out there, but they used to play late at night and they were like to call for like phone
Yes.
sex, but it was
Call
like
to talk
for
to
Zillow.
Lacey.
Yeah, so it was like
Party
the
hotlines,
Wow.
yeah.
commercials, but like for Zillow, and like it's so good.
Okay. Yeah. No, I've not watched it yet, but I
You should
will. I love Dan Levy.
He's so good.
But
Yeah.
but that's so true, right? As you get older, like the less you want to have a fling. But obviously, I'm speaking from someone who's like never had a girlfriend and just been single, and it just like getting older is just like don't look at me. It's just like getting older is just like you don't
You
want.
just denied us online. That's what I'm about.
You just didn't say his name. Say his name. I was
Say
listening
it.
to that song earlier today.
But like what I'm saying, like when you get older, you start having like, all right, is it worth going through the motions, especially like during the time of quarantine? Like I know we started talking about this last time, Laura, about how dating now has been different because of quarantine. People are now forced to open up more than just whatever is going on social media, and and it's just kind of like speeding things up for young kids nowadays. And now I think we're at the age where it's not really being sped up. Now this is the time where we have to start figuring out what is worth anymore, because time now has more value than it did before in our 30s.
Yeah, well, you guys get like some freedom. Like I feel like women, like in general, like it just depends on like your goals. Like if you want kids, like of course, I don't feel like the pressure of the biological clock, but I'm very much aware that that's like a physical thing that like if I like want to have actual kids, that I have to like think that through sooner, because like it's so interesting. I know people who have had kids way later, and yet even still, like even though they're great and their kids are great, they were considered geriatric pregnancies, which is so funny to me because in my mind they're still young, and yet apparently past 30 it's like
past 35.
Yeah, well, like some of them were like just past 30 and they were still considered like a geriatric pregnancy. So like,
oh god,
yeah, I didn't know that until finding out through like a friend who was like, oh yeah, and like they weren't even like the high risk ones, they were just like still considered like
Wait, what is a geriatric? I never got that far with women.
Okay.
It was
Eric, I love you.
I never got that far. I was always the side boy.
Okay, well, this is, I don't think you would have to get this far, and probably who you're dating is not, you're not going to worry about this, but like geriatric pregnancy just means like geriatric in general, it's like old, it's like elderly basically, and like it's crazy, like it's like wild to me because like I don't, and at the same time there's like mixed studies on that, because there are people who say that in your 30s is like a good time to have kids, and there are people who have kids in their 40s and beyond still. So it's like so confusing to me because there's so much like out there. And like for me, I've been like fortunate enough to not like feel that rush. Like I think there's a lot of ways to become a parent. There's a lot of ways to like have a relationship. There's a lot of ways to be on your own. Like I don't think that one set thing is like set, but like there's so many people who model, like we talked about the expectations thing, like model their lives out of a nuclear family, and like that stereotype of 2.5 kids by this time and like married by this age, and like I just counting my lucky stars that like I was not on those paths necessarily, because like I am fortunate to have had the experiences I've had, but looking back on that, like I would not have been ready for those things at those ages. And like I know so many people who did have them and weren't ready, and that just makes it so much more complicated later in their life. And like I don't know, I think that you can have some complications and have that in general at a young age and be like fantastic. I know people who've gotten married really young, had kids really young, and they're great, but like, to each their own, man. We all do things on our own like path and our own timeline. And I feel like that's what I don't like, is the like forced timeline thing, or the forced like, oh, you're at this age, why don't you have kids? Why aren't you married? Why aren't you like in this kind of place in your job? And it's like, dude, I would have been doing so much stupid stuff if I had done that in those ages.
Yeah.
It's so funny because like I've heard so many like posts and things saying like people need to stop asking me, I don't think anyone has ever actually asked me, but they've asked my parents.
Really?
They'll be like, is Brooke seeing anyone? Just, do you know if she's ever going to want to get married? If she's ever going to want to have kids? They ask my parents. They don't ask me.
That's, I think, a weird women thing too. Like I've noticed that of like the indirect thing where you're like not even like you're the subject, but you're also the object where they're not asking you directly.
Yes.
Like,
yeah. Like,
Like, what, did they need like a barn raised in like 16 years? Is that why they want you to get pregnant now?
I don't.
Like, Valley too, everyone has kids so young, and like I think that there's like this kind of expectation or normalcy about it, like that it just like becomes expected. Like, did you guys ever get that, like, of like the when are you gonna settle down thing, or is that like more on the female side? Like,
I did.
I think, yeah, I mean, I felt that pressure until I went to college and then told my parents, I'm not coming back. I'm going to go stay in fucking rave for the rest of my life. And they're like, all right, he's done. There's 8
We
more.
got more kids.
There's 8 more kids.
You have enough kids.
There's
that,
8
like,
more kids to pump out kids for us. Eric's done. Like, I mean, yeah, I mean, but beginning, like, there was a lot of pressure. I think there was also a lot of pressure to like marry another like Laotian or Thai person too. You know, we didn't really have the freedom either. So I think it just comes from old conservative values, and then after a certain age, you know, you just start realizing that I'd rather be doing things for myself than what people expect of me.
yeah.
And we could definitely go down a deeper rabbit hole than that, but I know everybody else, a lot of people, we all share that same experience.
Question, like, how long did you date your wife before you guys got married, and like when did you know / decide you guys were gonna like tie the knot?
Was it 30?
Oh, so honestly, like I had the feeling from date one, like as
So cute.
Disney as that sounds, like
No, I love it.
Fugazi.
I know. I'm like, oh.
We went to Fugazi's for a quick interview because we were very much.
Wait, is she in the room with you? Can you tell her to leave?
No, she's in the living room. But
you're free to say whatever you want, man.
well, I can talk.
Get out of here, Eric.
I can talk. She'll hit me behind closed doors. But no. So where was I going with this? Okay, so we were supposed to have a quick kind of date. Basically, we went to Fugazi super early on a Taco Tuesday, and
I love Taco Tuesdays.
we just
Me too.
talked. And before I knew it, all of a sudden, like the server came up to us and said, "You don't have to go, but there's nobody here." And we looked around, and we closed the restaurant down, and we felt so bad. So it's like we left the biggest tip we could possibly leave, and it's like, okay. So it's like after that, it was pretty obvious, but it's like we met online because when I moved back to Visalia area, I was like, there's no way I'm gonna go out to a bar and like try to find somebody, basically. So
You don't want to find love at Double L Steakhouse?
Lum
Trouble
Lums.
L.
That's my go-to. Lum Lums.
Lum
With
Lums.
that purple drink pitcher that's like $5 or
It's
whatever.
called the Voodoo or Voodoo's Revenge if it's the really dark one, and they're both death in a picture. Like, I have thrown them up outside in that alleyway.
Nice.
Classy.
Oh, I can't. Yeah.
It's been a long time. That was not since the 30s.
Well, it goes back to like this is 30. Me after having 2 drinks, I'm 3 sheets in a wind. Like I am so loopy. I'm just like, hey everybody's my friend, like type of thing. It's like loosey goosey.
Yep.
Been there, yeah. Like, can I?
Same. Oh my
dude.
gosh.
The hangovers,
Same.
those are real.
Oh, the week-long hangovers now, where and Arsenio's burrito doesn't do it and fixes it all.
Man, I remember going to Blackout Wednesdays Blackout Wednesdays on.
Is it like everything's blacked out or the?
No, it's like it's the day.
Drink until you black out.
Yeah, Blackout Wednesdays, the day before Thanksgiving in Visalia.
Oh, that Blackout Wednesday. Okay, yes.
And like I remember going to Blackout Wednesdays, dude, and just like fucking raging, and then waking up the next
It's like
day.
a high school reunion.
Yeah.
Though.
Yeah, but now I'm just like I drink like maybe 5 drinks, and then I'm just like I'm done. Like there's no coming back from this. I'm about to pass out. Like there is no fucking way. Like I was a bartender until I was 30 or 30. Yeah, until I was 30.
I mean, you until like you left San Francisco, right?
Yeah, and all my friends be like, "Hey, we're gonna go get drunk," and I'm like, "No, I can't do it." Or even like sometimes like somebody be like, "Hey, you want to get a drink after you get off your shift?" And I don't know what's up with bartenders. When you're a bartender, for some reason, like you're sexually attractive. Like people want to go hang out with you after work, right? But the moment you go like, "No, I'm a sober bartender," it just all dries up. I don't know why. It's just like I had to go through that, just be like, hey, I had to stop drinking because these hangovers were affecting my life, was affecting physically and emotionally. Like before, hangovers were just like
Draining.
Fucking John Cho in American Pie 2 at the end of the movie, to about an hour 50 in, where he goes, oh, this sounds like a troll, right? But it's not.
Hour 50 in.
No, it's like an hour 20 minutes in. But after the house party, he goes, am I gonna have a hangover? Because I really want one. Being a stupid child till the age of like 28, who idolized American Pie, growing up in high school, I'm like, hey, these hangovers, they sound pretty cool. I want one. And I never got hangovers until college, So, but now it's like fuck, hangovers are awful. They hurt. So before, like, hangovers was just like, I used to be like, oh yeah, hangovers are great. I had a great night. You guys don't have a hangover? You're fucking losers. But now I'm just like, oh shit, I have a hangover. What am I doing with my life?
Well.
Juju, do you remember that Blackout Wednesday? Threw up in the cup.
Yes.
And then,
I remember that one.
Dude,
it was
a double L. It was a double L. He threw up in the cup,
trouble.
and like you. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And like this, me and like, and then there's the cup in his hand had throw up in it. Ah, dude. That's a good time.
Oh my god.
I used to like coming back down to visit everyone and see everyone. I used to just hate driving all you drunk asses home.
Hey,
oh.
and we appreciate that, and it was great.
That was
Thank you.
before Uber too. That's one thing that these young 20-year-olds don't know. Like,
yeah,
the struggle was real.
And being like not knowing whether or not you're gonna have a taxi actually come pick you up or not, and actually
man,
responsible.
Taxis. So yeah, let's what's some last things you want to say about whatever we just talked about? Because I'm pretty sure I'm cutting out like 40% of the things we said in here. Because
I know, like
I think we meant to like start out lighthearted, and then a bunch of technical things happened, and then it got super dark. And then it got super lighthearted, and it got super dark again.
Yeah.
So
So, some closing
we
remarks.
do this in 2 parts.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I mean, if you guys want to do a different one where it's more lighthearted than this one, then yeah, I think today, obviously, this is the first time we've all filmed together, so we're just trying to understand each other's.
I know.
dynamics.
I'm sorry. I talk way
And-
too fucking much.
No, it's cool. It's cool.
no, Brooke, you added the spice.
Mm.
Spice. All right. I'll take it.
But yeah, I mean, I'm definitely down to do something more lighthearted. I'm probably gonna change the theme to this to like something like lies we learned as growing up. That's a good thing about being a fucking writer, dude. You could change the narrative as much as you want, but I'm not gonna stray away or put words in anybody's mouths.
No, I don't think you have to, Eric. I think I don't think any of us are gonna like argue with you. I think you can call it as you see it, and we obviously are all a little bit of a tangent type. So.
Yeah, the one thing I learned about writing essays, and last tangent before we get to closing remarks, is that you don't have to write your thesis off the bat. You can make it after you finish your whole essay. And that's how I fucking write my blog posts. I don't know. I wish I knew that instead of being a alcoholic in college. But yeah, closing remarks. The lies that we learned. Anything you guys want to say before I stop the recording?
I think the one thing that you focused in on, Eric, was you don't have to fit a norm to be happy.
Be yourself, yes. Be yourself.
And that's something you learn in your 30s, I feel. Like a little bit more and more, I feel, but I think I'm getting more like myself. Not fully, but I'm closer than I was in my 20s to being comfortable with being like, yo, I'm Brooke. Hi. Deal with it. I'm not there yet, but I'm closer.
Yeah, I agree. Like, it's kind of all about like figuring it out, like raising awareness and like becoming more aware, but then also like owning your stuff. Like once you become aware, then like recognizing so much of ourselves, like when we're younger, we try to hide. And I think that like, you know, there's like one of the like lies I think is this way of like that you have to be a certain way or that you have to like do certain things. And I think that we figure out what we have to do and who we have to be as we like become more aware of ourselves and as we start owning it. And like, I don't know, I just like love that about like, I like this mixed group of like, there's so much that like I become aware of for myself when I look inward, but there's also so much I become aware of when I'm like getting outward, like with the mix of people that I'm around. And it's so important to like, you know, that finding your tribe and not like trying to force yourself into a certain tribe. Like I like that, like that give and take that happens with like, you know, the right people and like just, or not even the right people, I feel like, but like, you know what I mean? Like you find the rightness within people and you find that like, I don't know, it's a balance.
That jive.
Yeah. You know, like just growing up, you start to learn and understand the sound of your voice. You start to understand the sound of other people's voices and you start to tune other frequencies out that you don't need or that is not beneficial to your own life. And the other frequencies could be, you know, other influences. It could be lies that you have to unlearn. It could be lies that you're learning now. And it's obviously the older you get, the more you're going to be able to hear yourself and be yourself. And I guess turning 30 is just trying to be the best version of yourself because you're never going to be the best unless you try. So just be yourself. And on that note, goodbye, Julian.
I think I
Bye, Julian.
After that little speech, Eric.
What'd you say?
I said, you made me fall in love with you all over again after that speech.
You want to come pick me up?
You guys' bromance is one for the ages.
Right, I'm about to hit this button. All right,
If
bye,
if you ever get Eric, seriously though, if you ever get into Bakersfield, like where you know you're going to be in there, like it's easier for me to do that because it's not a full day trip away from work.
Is Bakersfield the name of your asshole?
Hey, all I have to say is I'm still the length of the belly button.
And I'm gonna pick you.
Oh my God.